coming from the grow room with this, with my cart out, and I put this thing here, there's the cover of the bottles and the things like it's ugly to see it from anywhere. I just put it like this, and what I do when I compost this, because you're probably wondering what happened to the cut-offs when you cut the grass. Those, we call them mats. Now the soil is pretty good. You can hold the soil I put in the beginning into the tray like this, because the roots are all over. And we call it the mats. We don't throw this away. This is unbelievable good nutrition still in this. And we use this, let it break down and use it, like reuse it and use it and use it again. And you will get a better and better soil. And this is my goal. This is my goal. This is a soil. This is the compost. So what I do now, I take the compost from my kitchen and I pour it over here, like just like this. See all these banana peels? I was freezing up bananas last night, which I freeze up and then I make ice cream out of them. That's how my ice cream is in this house. So there's a lot of good soil, nutrition in this. What I do now, I take all those mats, and you saw my flower pot. This is the flower pot. I don't usually cut it off because it has been around people sleeping in and all of that stuff. So I just dump it in here and keep on dumping this in. See the beautiful worms? Those are my little slaves over here. Not as slaves really at all, because they love it. Those are our red wiggles, the name of those worms. And they are very good. And their salary is this. They really love it. They're so happy when I give them this kind of, these good food for their, but they work like crazy. They break all of those big mats off. They break them off totally on like 3 to 4 months, even in a freezing temperature. Of course it is very much cold out, then it just takes longer time. But I usually can reuse the soil up after 4 months. When I was composting inside, I could reuse my soil on 2 months. But I please ask you to never ever use a compost breakdown in your soil that they're selling everywhere, selling it everywhere, because that compost breakdown is a chemical will put a lot of heat up in your soil and will kill the worms. And if you don't have worms in your soil, that is the end of the earth. If we don't have soil and green grass, we won't be around anymore. So the reason I stack this up this high of my bottle is when I am done, when this is done, bro, now I put a plastic over this. So take this plastic over here and I put it over, and then I put a band around it and tie it off. What I do usually, I mark it off when it was filled. So this was filled 10/12/94. So I mark it up so I know it. Every bottle is marked up when I last put it in and put the cover off. And you can see how low this is, because this is since October. Those bottles are ready to use them and reuse them again. In the dead of the winter, what I do, I take few bottles, because I have a big house like that. I take few bottles to put in my garage. So if there comes a big snowstorm, I don't be worried about soil. I have it in my garage, so I can take it and use it and plant out. Because if I don't have a greens in the dead of the winter, I feel like a poor man. As you can see here, I feel pretty well off. I have all this beautiful soil. This is one of the most valuable things in my house. It's one of the first things I would try to save if something would happen. it is very, very tricky to do this, because you have to have those two things, which is a garbage can. Just get any can, it doesn't matter what can it is, and the technique with this, high tech with this, is to drill holes around into the jar, into the can. Those holes are a little bit too big here. I would have it. The best size to do is similar to this, like a 1/4-inch holes. That's a perfect size. And you don't have to have anything special. You just drill them randomly. In the bottom, you should try to drill holes in the bottom for water to leak out. If you are doing this inside and you don't want to have the holes all over the bottom, you can just drill holes in a one little spot for draining the liquid out. And you can put those bottles on, for example, on a brick, few bricks, lift them up, and you can have a jar under the barrels if you are indoor, if you don't have any outside space. Because there is no excuse to not compost. I know people very well that are now, when they were in the college and they had no other space, they grew the greens in their closet and they had a one compost bottle in the same dormitory stuff. I have heard it, but I have also heard people that owns a huge big buildings with a lot of stuff to have a growers and caretakers and like that, and they cannot do it because they feel it is too nice of a house. So it is just whatever you want to do. If you tell me that you cannot do it, that's because it's not your priority to be healthy.